Hello and welcome to today's lesson. We're going to be learning about linear piecewise functions, which means that we're going to be looking at graphs that have different types of lines that are connected together. And those lines are either going to be an increasing graph, a constant, or a decreasing graph. So if you can help, the first step is going to be able to identify when a linear graph function is increasing, constant, or decreasing, and if you can get that down, it's going to go a long ways to making these problems easier for you. So as we're going along today, please make sure that you're taking notes, writing down the definitions and examples, so that you have that to refer back to when you are trying these problems on your own. And you can even pause at the beginning of a question, work the problem out yourself, and then watch the video to see where it is that you get things 100% right and where it is that maybe you still need to work on and study. So I'm so glad that you are joining us today, and let's go ahead and take some notes. So in this lesson, we're going to be looking at piecewise linear functions, and that's a function composed of some number of linear segments defined over a number of intervals. So you can see here, this piecewise function has three parts. It has an increasing line in the blue, and some of these will have endpoints at both ends, and some will keep going forever in the left direction. And then it has a constant part that's flat. Then it has another increasing part that's a little steeper in the green here that keeps going on. And sometimes there'll be an endpoint here also. It just depends on your function. And just a reminder, in real life examples, the rate something increases or decreases is the slope of the line. This example says a store sells antifreeze coolant for $5 a gallon. If a customer purchases 4 gallons, they are given a 5th gallon for free. If the total bill exceeds $30, the price for any additional antifreeze is $3.50 a gallon. Describe the total cost of coolant for an order of 4 to 5 gallons. And then they give us this graph to show us the word problem as a graph also. So you can either answer the question from the word problem or from the graph. It is your choice. I think it's easier to see it from the graph. So we're going to look for 4 to 5 gallons. And I look at my labels here, and gallons is the x-axis. So I'm looking for 4 to 5 gallons, which is from here to here. And so I go up and look at the graph for 4 to 5 gallons. And that's this constant part here that remains flat. If you have a horizontal line, that's considered constant. It's not decreasing, it's not increasing, it's remaining constant. And so the price that goes with is $20. So to buy 4 to 5 gallons, the price stays constant at $20. So I just need to find the answer here that says something along those lines. A says you can't tell. B says it decreases. C says it increases, and D says it's constant. So D has that word constant in it, so it's going to make D my final answer. This problem here says Jordan's Bakery makes sourdough bread. They bake 20 loaves of bread every 30 minutes. They have a lunch break for an hour, then they resume baking the bread at the same rate after their lunch break. Describe the change of the number of loaves baked between 2 to 3 hours. So once again, they give us the problem in word form and in graph form, and I think it's easier to see it in graph form, so we're going to look there. For 2 to 3 hours, hours is the x-axis. So I'm going to look at between 2 and 3 hours. That's going to be looking at between these two lines that I just drew up from 2 to 3 to make it easier for us. So that blue line between 2 and 3 is going up. It's increasing. So I'm going to be looking for the answer that says increases. And increases is choice D. So that's going to be my final answer. This problem says Rob is studying to find the average temperature of New York City as a part of his geography project. He finds the average temperature is 30 degrees Fahrenheit in January and increases to 60 degrees Fahrenheit in the month of April. He finds the average temperature further increases to 80 degrees Fahrenheit in the month of June and remains the same till August. the average temperature then decreases to 40 degrees Fahrenheit in the month of December. From the graph shown below, find the interval in which the average temperature is decreasing. So down here they give us 4 different intervals as part of the answers, and we just need to look at the graph and see which one of these is decreasing to find the correct answer. So first let's look from March to June. So if I go up here to where March starts, and then I go use my graph and look to when June starts, from March to June, that graph is going up. It's increasing. So it can't be A because we're looking for decreasing. So then I do the same for B. I'm looking at October to December. So I go up my graph where it's at for October, and I go the same for December. And from October to December, the line is going down. So starting October, going to December, the line is decreasing. So that means my answer here is going to be B. And you would want to continue to check C and D to make sure your answer is correct, that you didn't make a silly mistake. So if I go and start at June for C and then end at August, June to August, it stays flat. That's a constant. It's horizontal. So it can't be C. And then D is January to March, and that line is going up. It's increasing. So it can't be D either. So my final answer is B. This problem here says, in its annual newsletter, the administrators at high school reported on the number of students who rode a bike to school each month. Initially, 70 students were riding their bikes to school. Then for 3 months, the number of students biking to school increased by 10 students per month. For the next 4 months after that, the number of students biking to school decreased by 5 students per month. For the next 2 months, the number of students biking to school stayed constant each month. Which graph models the piecewise function for the given situation? So we need to break down the different pieces that they give us in the problem to help us see which graph that matches. So the first piece of information it gives us is that initially 70 students were riding their bikes to school. So initially means the start of. So that means we're looking for a graph that starts at 70. So here A starts at 70. And you're looking for it starting at 70 on the y-axis because it's 70 students, and students is your y-axis. So A starts there. B starts at 70, C starts at 70, D starts at 80, so it can't be D. So I'm going to go ahead and cross D out. So then I'm going to look at my next piece of information. And then for 3 months, the number of students biking to school increased by 2 students per month. So for 3 months, you're looking for a line that's increasing. So here, there's my first 3 months. So that means it's increasing to that 3 line. Which in A, it increases past that 3 line till 4. So it can't be A. So let's look at B. 3. It increases from 70 to the 3, month 3, and then it changes. So that means it could be B. And then I'm going to look at C, looking at month 3. This one also increases from 70 to month 3 and then changes. So it could be C. So now I need to look at my next piece of information to see what the next piece of graph needs to be. So for the next 4 months, the number of students biking to school decreased by 5 students per month. So that means from for the next 4 months, which here would be 4, 5, 6, 7. So for months until month 7, it's going to be decreasing. So I look at C, and from where it changed from increasing to decreasing, and it went to that month 7. So far C's holding strong. And then I go to B, look at what it does to month 7. Well, it's constant, and then it's decreasing. So it needs to be decreasing that entire time from month 3 to month 7. So it can't be B. And so let's just go ahead and check that last piece of information to make sure C is correct and I didn't make any mistakes. So C, that last piece of information says the next 2 months, the number of students biking to school remain constant each month. So for the next 2 months, it remained constant. So that means until the end, the last piece needs to be a constant piece. And that is a constant piece. So that means that C is going to be my final answer. This question says, Jefferson owns a pizzeria. On a certain day, he sold 10 pizzas per hour for the first 3 hours and 20 pizzas per hour for the next 3 hours. He did not sell any more pizzas in the next 4 hours after that. Which graph models the piecewise function for the given situation? So once again, just like the last problem, we're going to have to take it piece by piece and see what matches the word problem part with which graph. So on a certain day, he sold 10 pizzas per hour for the first 3 hours. So that's going to be increasing. So for the first 3 hours, I'm looking for it increasing and then there being a change. So here in letter A, that 3rd hour, it does increase and then the line changes. It's still increasing, but it's increasing at a different rate. So A works out. So then I'm looking at B. B, it increases to 3 also, and then changes. C, it increases to 3, and then changes. And then D, it also increases to 3, and then changes. So let's look at the slope of these lines to see if it makes any of our choices disappear. So it's 10 pizzas per hour. That's going to be our slope. That's the amount, that's the rate of change, the rate of how much it's increasing. And remember from my notes at the beginning, that's going to be our slope. So I'm looking for a line that goes up 10 and down and over 1. So from 0, I'm looking to go up 10 and over 1. And A does that. So B, I'm looking to go up 10 and over 1. And there isn't a dot, that's not where the graph is. It's a little bit over, so it can't be B. C, go up 1, up 10, over 1. The graph isn't quite there either, so it can't be C. And D, I'm going to go up 10 and over 1, and the graph is there, so it could be D. So for A and D, that first part checks out. So then I'm going to look at my second piece, and that's the fact that 20 pizzas per hour in the next 3 hours is what is sold. So once again, it's increasing. It's just increasing at a higher rate. So for the next 3 hours, that would be 1, 2, 3. That would be to hour 6. It needs to be increasing. So it is still increasing at a steeper rate. So the line's steeper from 3 to 6 in A. So let's see what it does in D. In D, it's decreasing from hour 3 to 6. So it can't be D. So it should be A, but let's go ahead and check that our last piece of information checks out. So it says here he did not sell any more pizzas for the next 4 hours. So that means the amount of pizzas he sold didn't change. It's going to remain constant, and A remains constant for that last piece. It's horizontal. So that means my final answer is going to be A.